This video is called Teaching the Song. We're on page 11 of the Junior Rockers Operations Manual. Choosing your instrument. And here again at the top of page 11. You should play an electric guitar, bass, or keyboard while instructing junior rockers. Your playing serves as a musical guide and a reference point during rehearsal. Choose an instrument that you're most comfortable on. You'll want to be focused on the group and not distracted by your own playing during class. If you choose to play the keyboard, you'll need to be mobile. So consider playing in a standing position with a raised keyboard stand. During band practice, you should be the loudest instrument in the band. This will help anchor your band. Decrease your volume and musical interaction as the band becomes more musically independent. Teaching or band directing in junior rockers, it's a great opportunity for you to work on an instrument that you're not as proficient on. So let's say you're a piano player and you can play a little bit of guitar. Well, play guitar then in junior rockers. It says in here that you want to remain focused on the group and not to get too bogged down in your own playing. And I think initially, like if you're a keyboardist, fine. Start the group up on keyboards, and then as they start getting more comfortable, maybe switch to guitar. So use this opportunity, or use the class as an opportunity to really hone some of your other skills. Using a microphone for instruction. You are encouraged to use a microphone plugged into a speaker during rehearsal. This will allow you to speak and cue the band as they play. Silent practice and managing the mixer. So this is right out of the Kids Rock operations manual. Consider using a small little mini mixing console to better manage the band. You can plug the guitars and the keyboards into the mixer. You should then run an instrument or patch cable out of the mixer into a single amplifier. And if you don't have a mixing console, you can purchase a little mini mixer for less than $30. Some of these teaching techniques can be implemented with the keyboard and guitars turned all the way down. This allows you to keep order, enables multiple students to review their parts and not disrupting others. Of course, you can't do this with the drums. The better you can manage the mixer, the better you can manage classroom behavior and distraction. So just like out of Kids Rock, for those of you that teach Kids Rock, have the band all plugged into a little mini mixer and then only turn instruments on when you want to hear them. I kind of go back and forth. Some groups, if the behavior is there and the kids can manage themselves okay, I'll let them each plug into their own amp. If the group's younger and there's some more behavior management issues, and I want them all plugged into one little mixer, one amp, so I can control the noise in the group and increase their ability to get more work done. So here's a teaching approach: memorization. This age group typically does not have the patience to sit quietly and wait for direction. Devoting time to each student for an extended period of time might not be an achievable goal. So implement strategies that are going to minimize downtime for band members. This is all really important stuff. I want to comment a little bit on this. You will be a more effective band director by including all band members as you work on teaching and rehearsing sections of the music. We'll address some teaching strategies later on to address this. The band will also move at a faster pace if you emphasize memorization of the music. The following details various approaches to learning and practice. So just like out of Kids Rock, you want to be focused on the whole group, and as you instruct one kid over here, in your mind you have to kind of say to yourself, okay, I'm going to give this kid this individual instruction. Physically remain in the center of the room, so kind of the kids all see that you can see them just from where you're standing. Say, hey, guitar player, give them the direction. That G, it's the third fret on the E string. The third fret, get your finger right behind the line, and then quickly move on. Quickly shift your energy back. 30 seconds, 20 seconds. That's ideally the maximum amount of time you want to spend on individualized attention. Sometimes the kids need more. And you just know if you're going to have to get down in there and work with a kid, you want to keep it quick because other kids will feel ignored, chaos will break out, and you want to avoid that. Song types. We're on page 12 now. Junior rocker songs are either centered around a riff, which is a repetitive series of notes, a chord progression, or both. A song might have both, a riff and a chord. Sometimes the chord progression kind of takes on a little bit of a riff quality. A riff is a repetitive melodic passage that the entire band often plays. It's often performed in unison to create a larger unified sound. Counting rhythm. It's beneficial to refer to quarter notes and eighth notes as slow and faster when trying to help students grasp rhythmic concepts. The word slow produces a quarter note rhythm when you speak it, and the word faster produces an eighth note. So slow, faster, 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 slow. So what I'm saying creates the rhythm. This is how rhythm is spoken in the Kids Rock program. Kids Rock graduates will be familiar with this type of counting rhythm. So here's a little teaching tip. Incorporate the slow, faster method with standard counting. In Kids Rock, you're never translating. You're always just saying, you're never translating into standard music talk. In junior rockers, you should start doing that. So, for example, teaching tip here says slow, faster, 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 1, 2, 3, and 4, and kind of follow it, with the standard music talk. Okay, so let's look at teaching a riff. We're now at the top of page 13. You should instruct the class how to play a section of Junior Rockers song by the CAR method, C-A-R, call and response. You'll want to incorporate CAR with note reading. However, you should emphasize memorization over reading. Important, let me say it again, you want to emphasize memorization over the reading. Teach the student how to play their music as you perform a small section first. Once they hear the melody and see the movement, they can easily connect the concepts with the written music. Reading will be more for reference in band, and the sheet music will also be more beneficial in private lessons or at home practice. So we see here at the top of page 13, it's guitar 1, guitar 2 part. You got this single note line on the E string, and then you got these power chords on the guitar 2 part. Strategy. Explain your game plan to the band. You're going to review the notes that you're going to play. You're going to learn and loop one instrument at a time. At a time. So typically I like to go drums, guitars, and then keyboards. Each student review their notes, chords, or in the case of drums, you're going to call out band members to demonstrate basic comprehension of the music, and I'm going to break this all down. This is kind of an overview. You're going to play and loop, repeat over and over. That's what loop means. And you're going to play and loop the first measure. So you're going to teach them one measure, and you're going to get them up and playing in time. Then you're going to play and loop. This is number 5. You're going to play and loop then the first 2 measures of the song. And then you're going to loop all 4 measures. So even kind of looking here at this riff, this is a very typical where the first measure is a single melodic idea. Boom, boom, boom. Second measure is a variation on it. Bum, bum, bum. The third measure is repeating the first measure. So if you're teaching this to kids, teach them the first measure, loop it up, boom, 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 boom. They do it a bunch of times. Add the second measure, have them loop that up, and then say, guys, the third measure is just like the first measure. So no need to go over that. But let's look at the last measure, the fourth measure. Bum, 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 bum. There's a new idea. So you're going to loop one measure. You're going to loop then first and second measure. And then you're going to teach them the fourth measure and then loop all 4. Okay, so let's look at page 14. This is explaining your game plan. Give a brief explanation of how you're going to teach the band. Children like to know what is expected of them and what the learning process will look like. This helps reduce anxiety for students. Yeah, always. I really like this whole idea of, guys, here's what's going to happen now. Here's what's to expect, and here's what I expect of you. A bouncy, rapid fire delivery in your speech can be an engaging and effective approach. The objective at this point is not to fine-tune the band's execution of the music. The objective is to familiarize the students with notes and rhythms. That's key. I want to say it again. The objective as you're teaching the song is not for them to sound good. It's them to just become familiar with the notes and the rhythms, which means you have to be comfortable as a band leader to let them just stumble all over the place and trip over the rhythms and their notes in time. I think the inclination for an instructor is to stop the band when they start hearing mistakes and then correct. Don't do that. Let them just stumble and let them just kind of feel that time of the music. Maybe with the microphone, you can call out, hey, guitars, be sure to hit that third fret there. You can call out a command, but try to keep that band playing. A bouncy rapid fire delivery in your speech can be engaging and effective approach. The objective at this point is not to find okay, we did that already. Let's page 14 at reviewing notes, chords, and drums. Turn the volume down on the band mixer as students review their parts. So here's what you can say. And listen to how I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk in a bouncy rapid fire delivery. All right, band, first we're going to review each person's notes, chords, and drums. We will then play each measure or small section of music. What's a measure? Who knows what a measure is? It's a small section of music, a kid shouts out. Good. We're going to learn the verse one measure at a time. A measure is a count of 4 beats. How many counts in a measure? Drums. How many counts in a measure? I don't know. I wasn't listening. It's 4. 4 counts. Guitar. How many counts in a measure? 4. Good. Guitar 1 and bass. Practice playing your 5th, 8th, and 10th frets on your low E string. 5, 8, and 10. Those are your frets. Just on your own, you're turned off. Review those on your E string. Maybe point to the music as you're kind of saying 5, 8, and 10. The 5th fret name is A. The 8th fret's name is C. The 10th fret's name is D. Guitar 2, practice playing playing your power chords on these same frets. Keyboards, I want you to practice playing your notes A, C, and D. Hey, guitar, what's the name of your 5th fret on your A string? I always do that. Just call out questions right after I repeat. Okay, so here's another teaching tip. Say the note name associated with each fret as you teach, which I just did there. The 5th fret or A. Again, translating. Kids rock, you don't translate. Junior rockers, you're always translating, because in junior rockers, the goal is to get these kids to go into private lessons or really to kind of move to that next stage in their musical development. Your goal should be to ultimately eliminate referring to fret numbers. So many guitar players don't know the names of the notes on the fret, and this is a great way to teach them. It's just by doing it. Guitar, play your 2nd fret. 2nd fret, F sharp. What's the name of that 2nd fret, guitar? Nope, F sharp. It's F sharp. 2nd fret's F sharp. Hey, keyboards, what's the name of the guitar player's 2nd fret? Right, F sharp. Okay, good. Here's another teaching tip. Follow up on instruction with a question. I kind of already did this. Guitars, what's the name of the 5th fret? Okay, we got that covered. Teaching the drums. It's recommended to teach the drummers their music verbally with air drumming in reference to the sheet music. This will allow them to internalize and memorize their parts faster. The drum 1 or D1 should always be played by a complete beginner. The drum 2 part, D2, that should be played by a more intermediate level drummer. In the example below, look at top of 15 here, the example below, the drummer playing drum 1 will probably require more attention than the drummer playing drum 2, and that's pretty typical. The drum fill in drum set 1 should be an easy part to execute, whereas the drum fill in 2 will require some more attention. So here's how to teach it. This is looking right underneath the sheet music on 15. What to say. Drum 1, let me hear your kick drum 1 time. Boom. Let me hear you play your snare drum. The snare drum's the drum that's sitting right there between your knees. Shoom, the kid whacks it. Strike your drum one time with your right hand and once with your left hand. And you model it. Watch me air drum your part. Foot, hand, or no foot. Oh, I see what it is. It's foot, right, left, foot, right, left. I'm gonna redo that because I said that wrong. Drum set one. Let me hear you play your kick drum one time. Let me hear you play your snare drum. Strike the drum once with your right hand and then again with your left hand. And the kid does it. All right, now watch me here. I'm going to play your drum part. I want you to listen. Foot, right, left, foot, right, left, foot, right, left. Play with me. Drums, foot, right, left, foot, right. Once the kid shows it, cut them off. Okay, good. Why do you cut them off so quickly? Because you got more kids you got to get to. Teaching tip. Act out the movements. Air drum, which I was doing. Speak the rhythm and movement. Foot, right, left. Okay, we did that. Teaching tip. Next teaching tip on 15. Spend no more than 30 to 60 seconds instructing the section. I said 20 to 30, but, the message is be short, be quick. Your objective is to teach each drummer the basic movements of their part. You should be focused on incorporating the other instruments quickly. The more time you spend with one student, the more likely that disruptive behavior is going to become an issue. Another teaching tip, bottom of 15. You're encouraged to also incorporate to mix and match or copy and paste the drum set 1, drum set 2 parts. For example, you might ask the student playing drum set 1 to play the drum fill in drum set 2 if there's only one drummer in the band. You might feel like it'd be a good challenge for the student. So don't feel like you got to be very strict about, the drummer only playing their one part. Kind of mix and match. And like in this case here, and in this drum beat, I'm looking here on page 15. Let's say the drum beat was just kick, snare, snare, kick, snare, snare. And that was it. You could say, hey, you know what? Second snare hits, why don't you go up to the tom? And this is a very typical Junior Rockers drum beat where, take a look at it. It's going kick, snare, kick, high tom, kick, snare, kick, low tom. What's nice about that is the kids moving around the whole drum set. And kids love that whole thing of just moving around the whole set. Okay. Another teaching tip, we're now on page 16 at the top here. A student playing drum set 2 should be able to execute this part with relative ease and minimal instruction. Transition the student to drum set 1 if they're unable to play the beat. You can also simplify the beat if you feel that the student will ultimately be able to execute the part. Instruct the student to play the kick drum and hi-hat part as an alternative. You have the freedom to break up the drum beat when working with 2 drummers. Another teaching tip on 16 here. Play the guitar or bass part as the drummers work out their drum beats. This allows the rest of the band to hear what their parts will sound like. Remember to keep things moving at a quick pace. That's huge. So the kids will be learning just by hearing what it sounds like. And they'll hear, the chord changes on this second measure. I don't know what the chords are yet, but they'll just feel when that change needs to occur. Next teaching tip. Sight reading can slow the class down. Verbalize, visualize, and actualize the music for the class. Just get in there and play it. And here's what it is. Boom, boom, boom. Kid, play your 5th fret, play your 8th, play your 10th. Don't get bogged down in explaining things. Just show them this is how to do it. This will make the whole class move quicker. Here's a little bringing in guitars 1 and 2 in the bass. Turn up the guitars in the mixer. Guitars and bass, let me hear you play your first note on the 5th fret. It's called A. Boom. A bass player. What's the name of the 5th fret on your E string? A. Good. The 8th fret's called C. Boom. Okay. Up and on the 8th fret. Hey, Jimmy, what's the name of that 8th fret? Nope, not A. That's C. Play your 10th fret or D. Get up there on that 10th fret. That's D. Listen as I play your part. So that each kid just played the notes. They haven't put it together yet. Now, listen as I play your part, and you play it. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. I want to remind everyone, boom, boom, that we're only playing the first 4 beats of the song. Boom. And I'll talk as I'm playing it. We're going to loop it now. Means we're going to play it over and over. Drums, guitars, and bass, let's all play together. Wait for me to say play, and then we'll all play. Everyone's going to play it. We're going to play the first 4 notes over and over. Let's do it 8 times. Okay, so I'm going to hold up right there at 16, and we're going to jump in. The next video is going to talk about counting off the song.